There we are. Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Lunchtime Live. It's good to see you all again. I hope you're having a great week and a great Thursday, and I know I am because today I've got some very exciting personal stuff going on. My new dog is coming. I am actually, I signed up to foster a dog for the first time, which is like totally, I don't even know what I was thinking because Millie is my first dog ever and I got her in February. So I'm like not that knowledgeable yet about dogs. So I'm hoping this all goes smoothly. I think it will. I think they'll play well together, but most likely I'm not going to be doing much work this afternoon because Turbo is coming in just a couple of hours. And I'll share pictures. Of course, I'll share pictures as soon as he comes. And I don't know how long I'll have him, maybe just a few weeks, but I think it's going to be fun. So that's what's going on for me personally. But now let's get to Stitches and Scraps. And that's why I'm a little bit early this week. So I'm sorry to those of you who don't catch this in time. Hopefully you're okay watching the replay. But I really wanted to come talk to you and still be able to get the other stuff that I need to do today. So first of all, there's a new pattern on the blog, and I showed you this last week. This is Playful, the penguin. She is the first female one I've made, and I don't know why she's female. She's female because she is. But somebody pointed out that all of my amigurumi characters were boys. So I said, you know what, I'll make a girl. So this is Playful, and she's the new pattern on the blog right now. And of course, I'll put the link in the description if you're watching this on YouTube or in the comments if you're watching this on Facebook. She is my pattern for the 80 days of polyfill crochet along that Fairfield is sponsoring. So Fairfield, they make polyfill and a whole bunch of other products. And they provided, you know, all the polyfill for these designs and plus so much more that I could probably live all my amigurumi just based on what they sent me for this one pattern. They're very generous that way. They always send a lot, but they are so much fun to work with. And there's 80 patterns that are coming out in 80 days because it's the 80 days of polyfill to celebrate their 80th anniversary. So be sure to check that out. Again, the link will be in the comments, but that's a fun event that's going on. Let me check over here. I just saw that the video showed up, so I'm just going to take a peek and see if there's any comments from anybody yet. Video. There we go. And YouTube. Okay, so if you're here, say hi. I can see you now. I'm all logged on. Okay, so the next thing that's going on is I've got two patterns coming out next week, and they're both going to be very similar, but completely different. So this is the first one that I'm still working on. You can see no ends are woven in yet or anything. This is a Tapestry crochet gift card pouch, and this is going to be my pattern for the holiday stash down crochet along over at CAL Central. And the reason I've got three of them here is I've been trying to work out what I liked and didn't like for the bottom. You can actually see this one's got a smooth rounded bottom that doesn't have any ridges. This one's got too much ridges. I didn't like this one at all. And this one is what I finally decided on. Now with these two, I actually started with a row of single crochet stitches and then worked around it, in different ways to get these effects because I thought it was easier to start the project from a row of single crochet. And it probably is, but I just don't like the effect. So from this one, I just started the tapestry work straight off of the foundation chain. Now we've talked about tapestry crochet a couple weeks ago, and so that I'll link to that video in the pattern as well, just so that you can see it. But I also, oops, sorry, gotta mute my computer. I also want to show you how to work this bottom of the bag because it's a little fiddly, and to get this line is probably not something you've done before with the way that I worked that. So that's what I want to demo for you today. Now the next pattern that is going to come out is for this, why isn't this changing? There we go. The next pattern that's going to come out is for the Scrappy Stitchers Stash Bash, which comes out on Wednesday. And that is actually going to be a similar tapestry crochet sort of a project, but it's not going to be a gift card pouch. It's going to be a different, I don't want to give too much away. It's going to be different. It's going to have a different design, but it's going to start in the same way. So if you see the way that I start this row, even if you're not making this project, I'm most likely going to start the next one the same way as well. So be sure to check it out. I won't be sure to check it out now because I'm going to show it to you right now. Okay, so this bottom starts, I've got two colors here, right? I've got the main color, which is this cream or beige, and then I've got the accent color, which is the red, okay? So it starts with the main color. Now you could, if you want to, you could start this with the accent color, and then this line right here would be all red. I just don't think that'll look as nice. Like I think it'll be too boxy because you've got a line of red here if you have a line of red down there. But if you wanted to try it, you totally could. On the pattern, I'm going to start it with a row of chains of the main color, and this is 13 chains in the main color. So now, very important, the way you use these loops is very important in this pattern. Do you see you have, I'm going to zoom in a little, do you see that you have your top loop, your bottom loop, and then over on the back here we have a back bump, right? We're going to start by working into the back bump, then we're going to come back around and work into only one loop. And that's where you get that extra third loop sitting there. Now, with all tapestry, we want to work over this extra yarn, the color we're not using. We want to work over that at all times. So before I start the first row, I'm just going to take that extra yarn, leave a little bit of a tail, right? And just hold it up against my work, just like this, okay? Now I'm going to work over it as though I was doing, you know, the regular tapestry crochet stitches. But in this case, I'm going to be working into the back bump of this chain. So to get started, I put my hook in the back bump and then slide it under that thread just to hold it in place and do my first crochet. And that was the second stitch, so it's the back bump of the second chain, okay? That locks that yarn into place. Now, the pattern is, it starts with 2 in the main color, and then we're going to switch to the accent color. So I've done my second one in the main color. I haven't finished it. You always want to switch in the last part of the previous stitch. So I want to switch, and I'm switching to red, okay? So now I've got red, and I'm going to work 1 stitch in red. And then again, you want to switch before you finish the stitch, right? So I'm working the next one in cream, okay? There we go, that's the first 3 stitches. I'm going to continue this row. It's actually 3 in cream and 1 in red is the pattern for this first row. It starts with 2, but that's just to offset the pattern a bit. Okay, and then 1 in red. And see, I'm working in the back bumps of these chains all the way across, and that's very important because you need those other 2 loops for the other side. Which we will get to in just a second here. So I'm just working these tapestry single crochet where I'm working over the carried yarn at all times. There we go. If I'm going too fast for you guys, let me know. This is what I demoed the other week. So, but feel free to let me know if I'm going too fast. Now the last one is right here, and because I don't use a slip knot, this last one's going to be a little bit fiddly. If you use a slip knot, this will be easier, and then you can take out the slip knot later if you want to do that. But I'm used to this, so I can find my loops without a slip knot. So there's the back bump. There's 1. Now we're going to rotate this chain and work around the opposite side of it. Now when you look at this, because we left those 2, it looks like the top of a stitch, right? So we're still going to have a front loop and a back loop just like we would on a normal stitch. So like on this stitch, if we were to turn and work in this, this would be the front loop and that would be the back loop, right? Well, we have almost the same exact thing here because we worked into the back bumps. So now this row is going to be worked into the back loop only. And again, my first stitch is fiddly because I have that loose kind of chain. But working into the back loop only, not back bump anymore, back loop, we're going to do the same pattern. So we start with 2 whites and then 1 red. See how I'm changing color at the end of the stitch, right? Now 1 red, and then I change color in this last pull through. And if you guys remember, the reason for that is because the loop that's on my hook now is going to become the top of the next stitch. So that's why we do the changing of color at the end of the stitch instead of at the beginning of the stitch. So see how that loop became the top of the stitch? Okay, so 1, 2, 3 in cream. Now one thing, you want to be careful. You notice that I pulled a little bit just there because my yarn was knotting back there. You want to be careful that you loosen. Again, if you tighten any of the yarns, you want to loosen them because this carried yarn can actually end up cinching your work together if you're not careful. So I'm changing colors. And then I'm going to snug that up just a bit. There we go. Okay. 1 more red. And also when you switch colors back and forth, alternate the way that you switch them. Like one time pick it up from behind and one time pick it up from in front. And that'll actually help to keep your yarns from tangling so much as you work this. Okay, 1, 2. Oh, look at that. I forgot to carry my yarn. So you don't want to do that because then the yarn ends up just sitting there and you want it with you. So 1, 2, 3, and change colors. 1 more red, and then just like we ended the last row, 1 more white. Now in the pattern, it's very clear what color you should slip stitch in, okay? Because we're going to join the round with a slip stitch. And sometimes you'll want to change colors in the slip stitch, sometimes you won't. If it says to change colors in the slip stitch, you insert your hook, but then you pull through with the other color. So this would be if I was changing colors in that slip stitch. But generally, I have it set so that you're changing colors either here, where you finish the stitch and you change to red and then you do the slip stitch, okay? Or I have it where you're not changing colors at all, or you change it in the turning chain on the next row. So generally your slip stitch, I would say for most of the pattern, like 90% of the pattern, your slip stitch is going to be done in the same color as the last stitch of the round. So we come around here, and remember, we're working in back loops for this whole pattern. So we're going to slip stitch into the back loop of that first stitch. Okay? Now what we've done is we've made the bottom, and this folds up. After you do the next round, you'll see it fold up, and that's that little ridge at the bottom, and it will look like this. So that is this first round. And then to start the next round, you just chain 1 and start working your stitches again in the back loop like this. And the pattern shifts here to give you the diagonal lines, and that'll all be spelled out, like what color you should use will be spelled out in the pattern. And that's it. And that's how you do this tapestry crochet gift bag. Now the fun part of the pattern, well, it's all fun, right? But the part I really like is when you get up to the top here, this squiggly part is actually one of my favorite stitches. It's basically slip stitch chain 1. And this part is done into the front loop only of this row so that it sits on the front. And then the next row is done behind it in the back loop only. So you use kind of both loops of that row for 2 separate rows, and that gives you this little decorative element. And then up here it's just more regular tapestry crochet, and the loop is optional, but it's just a chain loop, and that's it. That is the pouch. It's coming out tomorrow. It's big enough for, not tomorrow, what am I saying? It's coming out Monday. It's big enough for not just a gift card. Okay, so when you buy gift cards, you know how you get not just the card itself, but it's always got some paper backing or a little envelope that it's in or something. And I find that a lot of gift card holders just fit the card itself. And it's like, I don't want to take it off of all of that paper. You know, the paper is important. It shows how much is on it, all that kind of stuff. So I made this pouch big enough that you could, for most of them, you're going to be able to fit the whole piece of paper into it with the gift card. Some of them it might be sticking up out of the top. Some of the really big ones may not fit, but it should be big enough to hold not just the gift card, but the paper it's on. And it's also a really cute treat pouch. If you make it in Halloween colors, do it in orange and black. It could be a really cute treat pouch for Halloween. And it'll come out Monday, and it takes literally like half an hour to make. I made this morning because I was still playing with the bottoms and wasn't sure what I liked. So this one I made like in literally maybe 15, 20 minutes this morning. Oh, Beth, I know you hate the back bump, but it's really important on this one, and it's only 12 stitches in the back bump. So you can do it, I promise. Or, you know, if you absolutely don't want to do the back bump, you can do it the way you normally do and then work around the other side with whatever loops you have left, but you'll get a smoother bottom, more like, it won't be exactly like this, but more like this one, where it doesn't quite have a ridge at all. See how it just like smoothly, bottom of one stitch goes into the top of the next stitch. Totally you can do that. I just like the little ridge. And that's all that working in the back bump does for you. So, Beth, you're funny. Okay, so, and thank you, Tina. I'm glad you liked the idea. And it's also a quick way, you know, for people who haven't done tapestry crochet, this is a really easy tapestry crochet pattern. It's a repeating pattern. There's not a lot to remember, and it's short. So it's a great way to practice. Now, the other one that's coming out, if it works the way that is in my head, because, you know, things start off one way in my head and then they're completely different by the time I'm done. If it works the way that's in my head, it'll be a little bit more complicated. So this is a great practice run to get you ready for that one, which will come out on Wednesday. And that's about it. I am off to redo my whole house to make room for a new puppy. He's not a puppy. He's 13 years old. He's a Jack Russell Terrier, and his name is Turbo, so I'm a little bit afraid of that. But he is 13 years old, so hopefully he's a little more mellow. And again, I don't know how long I'll have him, but I'm getting him in a couple of hours. I'm so excited. I just hope that Millie really likes him and they get along well. That's the whole goal, is if they end up being friends and it all works out, then maybe we end up keeping him, and I'm not sure, but we'll see. So that's it for me today. I'm going to say goodbye. Bye, Beth. Bye, Tina. Thanks for watching. And I will talk to you guys next week. Have a great weekend. Bye.